Namaste, Green Wave. It's Miss Amy. And today I'm going to share with you one of my good friends. Her name is Robin Wilner. And she used to perform on Broadway in the musical Wicked. She also was a ballerina. And now she is a nutritionist and a yoga teacher. And she started her own business called The Nutritious Yogini. So she's here with us today to share her story, how she never gave up. She kept following her heart to do what brings her joy. So we're going to use our listening ears to mindfully listen to Robin's story, to get inspired to think about our own goals, our own dreams, and knowing that it's okay to change our mind along the way. She's also going to share with us how to make homemade fresh guacamole. So that's a really healthy snack that you maybe make at home with your family, or you can also find guacamole in the store. But guacamole is really cooling for our body because we're still in the Pitta season, which is summer, with the sister science of yoga called Ayurveda. So if we remember from when Miss Allie came and spoke to us about her book in Pitta season, this is going along with it with, again, creating healthy food, what we put in our body to help cool our body, cool our mind down. And guacamole is a healthy snack to have. It's made from avocados. So Robin is going to share with us how to make guacamole right from home. Then we're also going to check out her blog that she wrote about staying cool in Pitta season on Yoga Journal's website. And she also made for the Yoga Journal website a video of a bunch of cooling yoga poses. So feel free to watch and then practice the poses or follow along right as she's sharing it on screen. Feel free to have your yoga blocks handy, your blanket, any props that you would like to add to the practice, again, to make you feel more calm and cool. But first, we're going to listen to Robin share her story, again, to follow her heart and just to not give up, to keep on trying, because sometimes, the journey has many twists and turns, but it's all there to teach us how to be our best self, to keep breathing one breath at a time, one step at a time to reach our full potential. So I'm going to share with you now. I'm going to share the screen and we'll watch the video that she made just for us here at 21st Century Community Learning Center. So I hope you enjoy it.
Hello, friends and future leaders of the world. My name is Robin Wilner, and I'm delighted to be here with you all, albeit virtually, just to share a little bit about who I am and how I came to be the Nutritious Yogini, which is the name of my company. And I would be with you live. Of course, I would rather be with you live answering questions. And I'm coming to you from San Francisco, so there's a good likelihood that while you're watching this, I'm actually asleep. So I came to health and wellness, interestingly enough, because I was dancing professionally on Broadway in New York City. And the story behind that actually goes way back to when I was younger. I was training to be in a ballet company at a very young age. I grew up outside of Chicago, and my mom would pick me up from elementary school. And I was pretty much the age that you all are now. I started when I was about 7 or 8 years old. I would leave school early and sit in traffic with my mom, and I would get to dance for several hours at this very prestigious school in Chicago that I was privileged enough to get a scholarship to. And I just wanted to be a ballet dancer. That was all I ever wanted to do. And years of that physical and mental discipline can be really challenging, and especially when you're at such a young age. I would spend hours dancing and then come home and do my homework and go to bed and then wake up and go back to school. And I think it just took a toll on my body as I was growing. I ended up spraining both of my ankles, if you can believe it, one sort of right after the other. And I was still growing, and so I took some time off. And in that time off, I don't remember exactly how the timeline was, but I have a lot of musicians in my family. My mom was a music teacher. Her mother played the piano with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, and my brother is also a musician. And so I was exposed to so much music, whether it was listening or playing or singing. And I actually fell in love with musical theater. And I had this opportunity to study, when I came back from my injury, study with a ballet company that offered us 1 week out of a 6-week program. I was actually offered a musical theater course, and it changed my life. I absolutely fell in love with this idea of singing and dancing and telling a story and bringing people into sort of a fantasy and really creating joy in people's lives through telling stories. So that changed the whole trajectory of my adult life. And I started working professionally in musical theater when I was about 16, and continued on that path. I actually took a year off before I went to college and worked. And when I did decide to go back to school and get my education, my dream was to end up on Broadway. So I moved to New York City in June of 2001, and not long after, September 11th happened, which, as many of you know, is a great tragedy in our history. And so the Broadway community was very quiet because producers lost funding to do shows. There was a lot of fear around when we would be able to even audition for something at the time, I remember, because there just wasn't a lot of opportunity, but there were a lot of people who really wanted to work. So in that time that I was in New York, I was very young. I was in my early 20s, and I just remember working so hard in any way that I could. And one of the jobs that I ended up taking was in the wellness industry. I became a personal trainer for several years. So while I actually ended up on several Broadway national tours, I would train people and help them to become stronger and healthier. And at the same time, I was performing and doing 8 shows a week. And shows like Cats and Mamma Mia and Evita, some other shows that I'm not sure you might have heard of, a show called Sweet Charity. And I eventually ended up in New York City on Broadway with the show Wicked, which is sort of a backstory to the famous movie and book The Wizard of Oz. So I performed in Wicked for a full 6 years, from 2008 to 2014. And in that time, I also was trying to stay really healthy, and I would have injuries from repetitive motion. So I ended up actually becoming a yoga teacher because I had this great love of movement and this great love of wellness and really taking care of myself from the inside out. And besides that, I was very curious about a food allergy that had been passed down to me. My dad is actually allergic to gluten, so he has celiac disease. That's the name of the disease for someone who's highly, highly, highly allergic. And it's actually very genetic. So I was curious and wanted to know more. And long story short, I ended up going to graduate school to become a holistic nutritionist. So that's the story of how I got to where I am today. And the things that I love about sharing that with you even and sort of reliving it is that everything is connected. I truly believe that whether we are on one path at one point in our life, like I was on this path of becoming a ballerina, and then somehow the path sort of changes and there's a turn and I became a music theater performer. And then even after that, my path turned and I moved to San Francisco to teach yoga and coach people in holistic nutrition. And what they all have in common is that I feel this sense of purpose to really help people experience life through the lens of joy and health and happiness. And I wanted to share that with you because you have the ability to choose whatever it is that you want to do for a job and throw yourself into something passionate and exciting if that's what you decide to do. And it will be aligned with something we call in yoga your dharma or your purpose. And so my dharma has always been to help people, to teach people, to share experiences with people, whether it was on stage or now whether it's through coaching and teaching classes. So I just wanted to send that little bit of inspiration your way. I would like to also share one of my absolute favorite recipes, which is for a guacamole that I just absolutely love. I secretly am obsessed with avocados and have been trying out different recipes for a while. And the particular one that I'm going to share with you today is one that I use for a snack time that I do every week for preschoolers out in California. So without further ado, let's head to the kitchen. Okay, here I am in the kitchen. I was peeling avocados earlier. So there's a couple of different ways that you can get your avocados ready to smash when you're making avocado. I personally prefer to just cut mine in half, and then when you've got the pit in the middle, you'll just want to take a knife. I'll show you with this one over here. You can take the back of a knife and just kind of press it down lightly into the top of the pit, and then if you turn it, it should come right out. In fact, this one actually broke a little bit before it decided to come on out, but it should be able to pop out just like that, and then you can throw it away. And then you've got a free avocado half. So I actually, instead of peeling it because it gets really, really messy, you just scoop a spoon inside of it, and then you can get to the very, very edge. And you want your avocados to be pretty ripe for your guacamole. If you've never made it before, that just means that they're going to be really, really soft. So if you squeeze the outside of the avocado and it leaves a little bit of a fingerprint, then you know that it's nice and ripe. So we're going to put 3 full avocados in here. So these are halves, so I'm working on putting, actually that was 1 half, and this is my second half, so there's 1, and I'll come right back when I'm all done with this part, and then we'll keep going. Did I mention that you were going to get messy? So I was all full of avocado in my fingers and had to wash my hands from peeling them. But hopefully you got your 3 avocados peeled and scooped out into a big bowl like this one. And then I'm just using a good old-fashioned spoon. If at home or wherever you're making your guacamole, you can find a potato masher. That's actually a really good tool to have. And it's great if you need to really mash up those pieces of avocado. Mine were particularly ripe, so I was able to just use a spoon, and the back end of it really helped. So the next thing we're going to add after we mash up all of this yummy avocado are some tomatoes and some onions. And then the last thing that we'll add are garlic and salt. And then we have the option to add some cilantro if you have it. I don't happen to have any today, so we'll leave it out, but you can absolutely add it another time. Next, we're going to add about 1/3 of a cup of onion. And so this is my cup measuring device, and I put some already sliced onion inside of it just so I can measure it out. And then I'm just putting it down onto my chopping board here. Hopefully you can see that. And the trick here, and of course, ask someone to help you if you've got a grown-up that would prefer to cut it for you or help you so that you can learn to do it on your own. But when you hold a knife, always make sure that the sharp edge is away from you and that your hand is cupping the back. You can actually take hold of it with your fingers and then put your thumb right in front. And then you always want to make sure that your fingertips are not anywhere near what you're cutting. So it's almost like you want to create a claw and put that right on top of whatever it is that you're cutting. So I'm going to take my claw and put it on top of the onion and then cut away from myself instead of cutting towards. So you can kind of claw up little pieces and then cut away from you. And then keep in mind that there is a property in onions that can actually cause us to start crying because it takes our tear ducts into sort of a place where they want to empty out because it's a little bit like a burning sensation for your eyes. So if you've ever heard grown-ups say that they cry every time they chop onions, that's why. It's pretty funny. All right, so what happens here is now I want these pieces to get a little bit smaller. So I'm going to bring my hand on top of the knife like so, almost like I'm giving it a high five right on top. And then I'm going to sort of move it away from me, like from the direction that's towards me and then away, kind of like I'm rocking the boat. So if you can see, it kind of makes this action of rocking the boat. So that's what's happening, and that's going to get these pieces of onion really, really nice and thinly chopped. We cut this mincing. So we're getting really nice and closely chopped here, and I'm also going to do this with the garlic too in just a moment. So once I have that, I can even grab it like a handful and then sprinkle it right on top of the guacamole, and we'll stir this up in a little while as well. All right. So I've got about half of a tomato here that's not too big, and it depends on whether you actually like tomatoes or you don't like them. You can leave tomato out of it, and that's fine. It's still going to taste really, really yummy. So what I do is I like to sort of eyeball this just so that it looks really nice, and it gives that extra red color to the green. So you can even measure if you want a third of a cup, just like you did with the onions, so that it's pretty balanced. And then it's the same thing that I taught you with the onion. You always want to grab whatever it is that you're cutting. You can take the pieces of tomato that's sliced, and you want to create that claw. And once you do, you cut away from you. Yes, you want to be able to keep your fingers safe, and of course not cut in the direction of yourself, because you never know. So either someone's helping you do this and you can watch, or you're doing it yourself and you can be really careful. And then once you've finished cutting up your tomato, we're just going to throw it right on top and mix it up. Next up, we're going to make some garlic into really, really small pieces. So again, you want to be very, very careful as you're cutting that you don't cut into your actual fingers. So create that sort of claw-like gesture, maybe with your fingernails, and take your time. And then once you've cut it up a little bit, same idea, place your hand right on top and go from forward to away from you. So it's like from the direction of your body away from you. And then you just kind of get these little pieces start to run away until they get really, really small. And then you'll see how they're really small. We can just slide them right off. Be really careful again with your fingers. And then again, we just go right on top and chop them down. And this is called mincing. And then you can just brush them off, okay? And then once you've got all those little pieces of garlic, this creates a lot of flavor inside our guacamole. So you can see we've got the tomato and the onions on there. Always going to turn my knife around to scrape the pieces in, because I don't want to use the blade to scrape, because it can hurt the cutting board or whatever it is that we're cutting on. All right, so that's in there. So now that all those are in there, I'm going to stir this up again. Just give it a nice big mix, and you'll see the garlic and onion and tomatoes are kind of disappearing in the mixture, and we're about to add some salt. I like to start with a half a teaspoon of salt, just to be really conservative. Some recipes will say add salt to taste, and that means you're kind of eyeballing it. So really what you're doing is making sure that you don't add too much salt to your dish. So you always want to fill it up right on top of your bowl so it doesn't get everywhere. And then really what you want to do is shake it and kind of sprinkle it. And you'll start to see that a half a teaspoon is actually a lot of salt. You might even go down to about a fourth. But as I'm kind of shaking it and covering it with salt, I can see that I've really only used about half of this little measuring device. So with that in mind, I can actually stir it up, and you can even give it a little taste and see how you like it. I might stir it up and just give it another little sprinkle, and then we're all set. So I really haven't quite used this whole half of a teaspoon, but I've used maybe about 3/4 of it. This last part is really tricky unless you have an actual juicer for a lime. It just so happens that my boyfriend has one of these, so I'm going to use it, but I've never had one of these at home. So what I can do, and I might suggest, is to use an actual tablespoon of lime juice. Or if you're feeling like you want to get really fun and messy, you can actually peel the lime or cut it into slices, and then you can smush it with your hands until the juice comes out. So what happens here is I put the lime in between these two pieces, and then when I smush it really, really nice and tight, the juice starts to come out, and that's what we need. We need the juice of the whole lime. So again, you can just use 1 tablespoon and see how that goes. All right, so we've added the juice of the lime, or of course, if you added a tablespoon of lime juice, that's great. And lime juice is actually keeping the avocado from going brown, so it'll stay nice and green, especially if you want to refrigerate this overnight and then have it tomorrow. So now the only thing we have left to do is taste this beautiful mixture. And those of you who live with grown-ups that have some cilantro lying around, you can just take a few of those sprigs and you can tear them up in your hands, sprinkle them around. It gives it a really nice taste. And then you want to grab your favorite chips. Mine happen to be these blue corn tortilla chips that I have. And then of course, here's the big moment, you want to dip it in. So delicious. Well, my friends, it was a pleasure joining you today, and I am sending you so much love and good health from California. I hope you loved your guacamole and that you enjoy it, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Be well.
All right, everyone. So that was Miss Robin sharing her story, sharing her guacamole recipe. So we'll give her a round of applause. So there's other ways that you can use avocados to, again, stay healthy. If you didn't have avocados, again, you can find these at any local grocery store. I got these from Trader Joe's. You can find them at Aldi, Stop and Shop, Find Fair, ShopRite. You can find them at any local grocery store. You could, cut the avocado and just eat it whole, or sometimes I like to put a little salt and pepper on it as I cut it up. It tastes good if you put it on a piece of toast or a piece of bread, have an avocado sandwich. You can also get guacamole to go if you didn't have the materials to make your fresh guacamole. Sometimes I like to get it to go, so it's in its own little snack pack, so it's ready if I go to the beach or if I'm at the park, or again, I'm just home and I want to have a healthy snack. I might have this with some carrots, or I could do some tortilla chips, but you can get creative with, how you have your avocados, your guacamole. There's also avocado oil. So just like olive oil, grapeseed oil, there is the avocado oil, and this is super healthy to cook with. It doesn't really taste like avocados. It doesn't have a strong taste to it, but I cook my vegetables with this, just how we learned about the coconut oil and the grapeseed oil. Avocado oil, again, you can find at your local grocery stores. And this one I got from BJ's because it's a little bigger. But again, Aldi, Stop and Shop, ShopRite, Trader Joe's, they all carry avocado oil. And you use it just like any other oil that you cook with. You could also make the magical mist with this because this is a carrier oil, the oils that you cook with. And another way you can have avocados is in hummus. So hummus is another healthy snack. Hummus is made out of chickpeas. And you can also make your own hummus by taking chickpeas, putting them in a blender, or again, smashing them up. You can always add, some spice to it. Remember, we learned about the yoga food spices of cumin and turmeric and ginger, or maybe like a little jalapeno. Sometimes you can add in tahini sauce, or again, a squeeze of a lemon or a lime, garlic, onions. You can get creative with making your own hummus, just like Miss Robin made the guacamole. But again, I got this at ShopRite. It's avocado hummus. So again, there's different ways that you can check out the local grocery stores to find how avocado is used other than guacamole, even though guacamole is super yummy. So now I'm going to share with you the screen again, and we're going to look at Miss Robin's website. Again, she is an entrepreneur. She started her very own business, the Nutritious Yogini. And I'm also going to read to you her blog, which is on yogajournal.com. And then we're going to watch the little video that she created for Yoga Journal of the Pitta pacifying asana, the movement sequence. So feel free to practice right along with Robin, or watch the video first and then, try out some poses later. All right. So once again, I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to come out of YouTube. Just a moment here. So this is Miss Robin's website, the Nutritious Yogini. So you can check it out. Go to nutritiousYogini.com and you can learn all about Miss Robin. Again, she lives in San Francisco in California, so she's out in the West Coast. So check out her website for nutrition, for yoga. She offers some classes and workshops that your families might be interested in. But again, this is a great resource for health and wellness, because remember, our body and our mind are super connected. And that's, with Ayurveda, finding balance of what we do to our body to stay healthy, and also being mindful about the food that we're putting into our body to also help us stay healthy, because health is wealth. So next is the blog that she wrote for Yoga Journal. So you can go to yogajournal.com and just search for Robin Wilner, and this website will come up. I'll also post this in our Google Classroom, so it'll be super easy to get to it. So here's her blog, 12 Poses for Keeping Your Cool This Summer. This Ayurveda-inspired pit-up balancing sequence will help you clear your head and find lasting strength, plus tips for staying hydrated and soothing your soul as things heat up. So sweaty, sticky, irritable, parched, summertime. The heat is high and the discomfort is real. Flushed skin, excessive sweating, a quick temper, and thirst imply an imbalance of your pitta dosha, the fiery energy that regulates your heat and metabolism. And since Ayurveda, like, is said to increase like, soaring temperatures can further throw your pitta dosha out of whack. The cooling solution: follow these tips to calm your Agni, that's the internal fire in Sanskrit, which will restore energy, clear-headedness, joy, and strength. So first, optimize hydration. Sip plenty of water, roughly 8 to 10 cups throughout the day. Tired of plain H2O? Cucumber water, coconut water, and watermelon juice are cooling alternatives. Drink liquids at room temperature. Your body has to regulate its internal temperature after sipping hot or cold beverages, which can disrupt digestion. So if you have a cucumber at home, you can cut up a cucumber, put it in, your water, let it soak overnight, and you'll have a really refreshing water. Even if you cut up some watermelon, that's cool too. Or you can even add watermelon and cucumbers together. Even add a little bit of mint, fresh mint, let it sit overnight, and then your water will be really, really refreshing. So it's just like how you buy flavored water at the store, that you can create your own flavored water. Move slowly. Heated yoga spaces and athletic flows stimulate your fire element, which can leave you feeling lightheaded, overheated, and drained during the hotter months. The wave-like sequence on the following pages is designed to open the water and air elements that reside in your pelvis and heart channels and soothe the excess warmth that can build in your solar plexus. So it says, melt into each posture for several breaths. Once you're comfortable with each pose on its own, practice moving freely from one until the next. It feels almost like a dance. As you find your flow state, your body and mind will ease and restore to a place of balance. Try both sides a couple of times. So here it shows you the different yoga poses that you can do to cool your body. And the video that we're gonna watch, Miss Robin goes through most of these poses. But again, if you come to the Yoga Journal website, you'll find those poses there. Then it says, rethink your diet. In Ayurveda, sour, spicy, and salty foods, plus red wine, red meat, and hard liquor are considered heat builders, so avoid them when it's hot out. Instead, fill up on foods with sweet, bitter, and astringent qualities, which are more cooling. Cook with cilantro or mint. Snack on sunflower seeds or top your oats with ghee. Enjoy plenty of fruits and veggies as your berries, melon, zucchini, broccoli, and kale, and spinach. Then we have bask in the moon's glow. Excessive heat generates a pitta surplus, so steer clear of direct sunlight during peak daylight hours and dress in reflective clothing. Think airy whites, blues, greens, or grays to keep cool. In the evenings, take a stroll in the moonlight. The lunar rays are soothing for your subtle energy body. So that's her blog, and again, you can read more about that on the Yoga Journal website, which is a blog right up here, and 12 poses for keeping your cool this summer. And then now we are going to watch Miss Robin in her 10-minute or 11-minute yoga sequence.
Namaste, yogis. My name is Robin Wilner. I am your nutritious yogini, and I'm so excited to offer this cooling summer practice for you on behalf of Yoga Journal. So when we're in these hot summer months, July and August, there's a tendency for us to get a little bit too warm and maybe a little bit overwhelmed from the inside out. So it's super important that we find that state of balance and ease by cooling down the system. And one way that we can do this is through our asana practice, getting a little bit more flowy with that water element that resides in the pelvis. So a little bit of what we'll do today is a short sequence that I designed specifically to move you a little bit in that ebb and flow of the hips, opening a little bit more so that you can start to cool down some of that fire that heats us up during the summer. So I hope you enjoy this, and let's get started. Come to downward facing dog, placing your hands a little bit wider than shoulder width. Tuck your toes under, take a deep breath in, and lift your hips up and back behind you. And it's okay if your heels are a little bit up. You can even move around a little bit by pedaling out your feet just so that you can feel that fluidity in your back body. At the same time, you want to let your head release and feel a little bit more tethering of your forefinger and your thumb so that you can spiral your elbows out, shoulders move forward, and the belly draws up. Just feel that length for a moment and that strength in your low body so that we can start to get more fluid as we move in our limbs. Take a nice deep breath in and just exhale a sigh out. On your next breath in, lengthen your right leg up to the sky. Try to keep your hip down. As you exhale, draw your knee in towards your nose, a little dome of your back, and step forward or nudge your foot forward, whatever needs to happen for you. Gently drop your back knee to the ground. You can keep your toes tucked under or untuck the toes. Draw your belly back a bit into your middle back, and then lift your arms up to the sky and feel your big toe down into the earth so you're free to lift up out of your hips as your pelvis tilts forward. Take a deep breath into your low crescent lunge, and exhale your hands down to the earth. You can stay on your fingertips as you tuck your back toes and shift your hips back so they float right over your knees. You want to draw your right toes back a little bit and feel your right hip draw into the socket. So you can lengthen from the belly to the center of your chest and float that extra inch of space down towards your shin. Come on forward into your right foot and really solidify your big toe mound. Drop your back heel with your back toe slightly in. Curl your arms all the way up and around. And then flip your front palm and tip back in reverse for a peaceful warrior. So you want to feel your right knee float forward and the upper body tilt back so that you feel this nice opening in your right side and the lung can expand. From here, take one more breath in and then cartwheel your arms back down. It's almost like we're swimming. Turn to face your left and open up your left toes. As you drop your pelvis down, flex your right toes up, and you can keep your hands on the earth, or you can try floating your right hand right to your heart and your left hand to the side. And this will open up your inner thigh and your hip a lot. From Skandasana, walk your hands back to frame your front foot. Turn to face your right foot and gently drop your back knee down. Heel toe your right foot to the very edge of your mat and let your right toes turn outward. Then untuck your left toes and gently place your left forearm on the earth. Take a deep breath in and twist your right arm up to the sky. Reach up through your fingertips so you can lift up a little bit out of the hips as the belly suctions back. Then you have the option of bending your back knee and reach for the pinky toe side of your foot. So you'll feel that rotation of your right shoulder open, and you'll definitely feel this in your hips and in your heart space. Take another deep breath in. And exhale, release your back foot. Bring your hands gently to the earth. Lift up and out of the hips a little bit and gently step your right foot back so that your knees are both on the earth. Keep your hips right over your knees and walk your fingertips forward slightly. Puff up the chest on a breath in and exhale, gently start to drop the heart and the head to the ground. Now you have the option to bring your chin down. If it's more protective for your neck, you can drop your forehead. This is called Anahata Asana, which is a big heart melting posture. Deep breath in And as you exhale, slowly roll yourself up, and you can keep the toes tucked under. As you reach your fingertips back behind you, squeeze the shoulder blades together slightly, and then lift your hips a little bit off of your feet, and you can either gaze up or let your head tilt back. Take a deep breath in and just let out a sigh. Gently drop your hips, coming back forward into downward facing dog. So once again, plant your hands fully on the earth, lift your hips up to the sky, and feel that suction of the belly back. You can definitely lift your right leg up to the sky if you'd like, or you can simply bring your right shin forward for pigeon. Slide your left toes back, untuck the toes, and bring your fingertips onto the earth. Really activate your back leg by pressing down into the top of your left foot, and then breathe into your heart as the hip opens. Exhale to come up and swing your left leg around in front of you, and hook your right foot inside your left thigh for Janu Shirshasana. Right hand comes forward on the inside of your left foot, and the left hand can stay behind you. Take a reach forward through the chest as you drag your left hip back, and exhale, try melting yourself towards your shin. You even have the option of releasing your left arm forward. One more breath in to come up. On your exhalation, gently twist over to the right, left hand outside your right knee, right fingers behind you like a little kickstand. Soften your left hip into the earth, breathe length into your spine, and exhale, draw your belly back to twist. Gently gazing over your right shoulder. Keep the left hand where it is. Breathe your right arm up to the sky, and gently take a side bend over towards your left. And you don't have to worry about reaching all the way for the foot unless it's accessible for you. Think more about rotating the right side of your body upward and gently softening your right hip downward. And then you'll get that great opening in the side body. Take a deep breath in to come up. Exhale, plant your feet on the earth with your knees up and give yourself a nice big hug. Drop your forehead gently behind your knees. Let your chin float towards your throat and your belly draw in, just so you feel a rounding. Release your feet back onto the earth. Hands come behind you with the fingers pointing in. Take a deep breath in to ground down and lift your hips up to the sky. And then just tilt your head back and let out a sigh. Then gently drop your seat, cross your ankles, and you can come right back to downward dog for the other side. For this side, let's flow a little faster so we can get into that watery, cooling, sensual, creative state that we're aiming for. Take a deep breath in, lift your left leg high, and exhale, gently step forward right between your thumbs. Drop your back knee, lift your arms up to the sky for Anjaneyasana, low crescent lunge. And exhale for Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. Hands to the ground, hips draw back, left toes to the sky. Look for Peaceful Warrior, plant your foot, drop your back heel, curl your arms all the way up and around, and tip back and reverse. Deep breath in. For Skandasana, bring your hands back down to the ground. Shift your weight over to your right foot. Maybe you let go of the earth, or maybe you leave your hands down. Come on back forward. Let's find that low lunge twist. Heel toe your left foot to the side, drop your knee, untuck the toes, and place your forearm down. Take a deep breath into the left arm. Exhale, option, bend your knee, reach for the foot, and open up your hips and your heart. Release your hand down. Bring both hands onto the earth. Stay on the fingertips. Tuck your back toes and shift your hips back. Maybe walk your hands forward and drop your head and your heart. Gently roll on up. Sit back towards your heels. Tent your fingers behind you. Squeeze the shoulders. Lift your hips up. Take a deep breath in. And exhale to come back. Drop your hips and come right on back. Downward facing dog. You can lift your left leg high if you'd like, or just simply step the shin forward for pigeon. Release your back toes. Walk your fingertips back. Take a deep breath. Lift up and out of your hips into your heart. And exhale, slowly release. And send your right leg forward, hooking your left foot inside your thigh. Twist a little towards your right leg and release yourself forward. And again, you can leave your right hand behind you, or you can take it right beside your leg. Nice deep breath in, roll up. And exhale, place your right hand outside the left knee, left fingers behind you, and twist. Inhale the left arm high, and exhale, come up and over in the direction of your right foot. Breath in to come up. Exhale, hug the knees into your chest, drop your chin towards your throat and your forehead gently behind your knees. Last breath in, hands behind you. Take a breath into your heels, lift your hips, and then let it out your mouth. Drop your feet, cross your ankles. Just acknowledge yourself for showing up to the mat. Thanks for watching. Namaste.
So again, that was Miss Robin in her video from Yoga Journal. So we're gonna come back on screen again, escape, there we go. Wonderful. All right, so I hope you enjoyed learning from our special guest today, Miss Robin Wilner, sharing about her passion as an artist, as a yoga teacher, as someone who finds joy in every step that they take, every breath that they take. So I hope this inspired you to, you know, reach your full potential. Think about what inspires you, what brings you joy, so that you can, you know, live your dream to make those dreams a reality. So again, feel free to check out her blogs about staying cool in the summer heat. Eat some guacamole or some avocados, or make your own, you know, avocado creation. And feel free to, you know, do some of those pitta pacifying cooling poses so you stay cool this summer. So when we're cool, we're able to find more clarity, more creativity, so that we can reach our full potential. So thank you so much, Green Wave. I hope you have a wonderful day.